There are moments in this vast tapestry of existence when the veil between worlds grows thin, when the ordinary reveals itself to be anything but ordinary. You may have experienced such a moment yourself, perhaps when you first locked eyes with a creature that would change your life forever, a dog. But what if I told you that this meeting was not mere chance? What if the forces that brought you together were written in the stars long before either of you drew breath? Welcome, seekers of hidden truths, to another journey into the Ancient Cipher. I am your guide through the mysteries that lie just beyond the edge of our understanding. Today, we venture into a realm where science meets spirituality, where ancient prophecies align with modern discoveries, and where the bonds between human and canine reveal themselves to be far more profound than we ever imagined. In the dusty archives of Virginia Beach, buried among thousands of transcripts that would reshape our understanding of consciousness itself, lies a prophecy that speaks directly to our modern moment. The sleeping prophet Edgar Cayce, whose visions pierce the veil of time itself, spoke of an era when mankind's four-legged companions would undergo a transformation so profound that it would herald a new chapter in human spiritual evolution. But Cayce was not alone in recognizing this sacred bond. Ancient civilizations across the globe held dogs in reverence that bordered on worship. The Egyptians, with their profound understanding of the afterlife, depicted Anubis, the jackal-headed guardian of souls, as the guide between worlds. The Greeks told of Argos, Odysseus's faithful hound, whose loyalty transcended even death itself. Indigenous peoples of the Americas spoke of dogs as bridgewalkers, beings capable of traversing the spiritual realm as easily as they navigate our physical world. These were not mere myths, dear listeners. They were encoded truths, waiting for a generation wise enough to understand their deeper meaning. Before we venture deeper into the mystical waters of this phenomenon, let us anchor ourselves in the solid ground of scientific discovery. For even the most skeptical among us cannot deny the mounting evidence of capabilities that seem to border on the supernatural. Medical research facilities across the globe have documented cases that defy conventional explanation. Dogs detecting cancer with accuracy rates exceeding 90%, sometimes identifying malignancies that escape even our most sophisticated medical equipment. Canines who sense epileptic seizures hours before they occur, positioning themselves as living early warning systems for their human companions. Dogs who recognize the subtle chemical changes that precede diabetic episodes, becoming four-legged medical devices more sensitive than our most advanced technology. But here lies the mystery that science struggles to explain. These abilities often manifest without training. Dogs displaying these gifts seem to awaken to them spontaneously, as if responding to some invisible call that resonates through their very DNA. Dr. Alexandra Horowitz, a cognitive scientist who has spent decades studying canine consciousness, admits that our understanding barely scratches the surface. We're dealing with sensory capabilities that exist on a spectrum we're only beginning to comprehend, she has stated. But beyond the physical senses, there appears to be something else at work, something that challenges our current paradigms. Listen carefully to this truth that echoes through countless testimonies. You did not find your dog by accident. Every seeker of wisdom knows that there are no coincidences in this universe, only patterns we have yet to recognize. Sarah, a trauma counselor from Portland, tells of driving past an animal shelter she had never seen before, despite traveling that route daily for 3 years. An inexplicable urge pulled her into the parking lot. Inside, among dozens of dogs, one sat quietly in the corner, making no effort to capture attention like the others. When their eyes met, Sarah felt what she could only describe as recognition, as if this being had been waiting specifically for her arrival. That dog, later named Guardian, would go on to detect Sarah's PTSD episodes hours before they manifested, providing comfort that no human therapy had been able to achieve. The shelter workers later revealed that Guardian had been adopted twice before, but returned both times, seemingly unwilling to bond with anyone, until Sarah appeared. This pattern repeats itself in story after story, each one pointing to a truth that challenges our materialistic worldview. These are not random pet adoptions, they are spiritual assignments. Marcus, a recovering addict from Chicago, describes the night his German Shepherd appeared on his doorstep during the darkest hour of his withdrawal. No owner was ever found. The dog, whom Marcus named Phoenix, seemed to understand the precise moments when Marcus teetered on the edge of relapse, physically positioning himself between Marcus and the door during the most dangerous times. It was like he could see the war happening inside my soul, Marcus recalls, and he decided he wasn't going to let me lose that battle. Science has long marveled at the capacity for interspecies communication, but what we're witnessing transcends traditional understanding of body language and conditioning. Researchers are documenting instances of what can only be termed telepathic connection, thoughts transmitted without words, intentions understood without gestures. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, whose controversial research into morphic fields has challenged scientific orthodoxy for decades, has documented hundreds of cases where dogs respond to their owners' thoughts and intentions across vast distances. Dogs who begin waiting by windows precisely when their owners decide to come home, regardless of schedule or routine. Canines who exhibit distress at the exact moment their human companions face danger miles away. Elena, a nurse from Denver, shares her experience with her border collie Sage. I was working late in the ICU when I started thinking about a patient we'd lost that day. At that exact moment, my husband called to tell me Sage had begun pacing frantically and wouldn't settle until I got home. When I arrived, she immediately led me to the bedroom and wouldn't leave my side until I'd processed my grief. She knew. Somehow, she knew exactly what I needed. This phenomenon extends beyond emotional support into the realm of pure information transfer. Dogs responding to their owners' unspoken commands. Canines who seem to anticipate their humans' needs before those needs are consciously recognized. Behavior that suggests a level of consciousness far more sophisticated than we've dared to acknowledge. Throughout history, sensitives and mystics have recognized dogs as protectors against forces that exist beyond ordinary perception. Modern accounts continue to validate this ancient wisdom, with thousands reporting incidents where their canine companions detected threats that human senses could not perceive. Jennifer's story from Seattle illustrates this mysterious protective instinct. Walking home alone one evening, her usually docile golden retriever, Atlas, suddenly became agitated, pulling her away from her normal route through a secluded park. She later learned that police had been tracking a dangerous individual in that exact area at that time. Atlas had never behaved that way before or since, Jennifer explains. It was as if he could sense danger on a frequency I couldn't access. He literally saved my life by trusting an instinct I didn't possess. These protective incidents often involve threats that exist on multiple levels: physical dangers, toxic relationships, environments charged with negative energy. Dogs seem capable of reading the invisible threads that connect all things, responding to disturbances in what ancient traditions call the web of life. Perhaps nowhere is the spiritual evolution of our canine companions more evident than in their spontaneous emergence as healers. Without training or instruction, dogs across the globe are awakening to their capacity to channel healing energy, to absorb pain, and to facilitate emotional transformation in ways that challenge our understanding of consciousness itself. Medical facilities now employ therapy dogs not just for emotional comfort, but because research demonstrates measurable physiological improvements in their presence. Blood pressure decreases, stress hormones balance, and healing processes accelerate when these four-legged healers are present. But the testimonies from individuals reveal healing that transcends the physical realm entirely. David, a veteran struggling with severe PTSD, describes his rescue dog Luna as an angel in disguise. She seemed to absorb my nightmares. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, and she'd already be pressed against my chest, her body warm and steady, pulling the terror right out of me. Over months, the nightmares decreased as if she was literally taking them into herself and transmuting them into something else. Modern quantum physics speaks of energy fields, of consciousness as a fundamental force in the universe. Perhaps these healing dogs are operating as natural conduits for these forces, channels for energies we're only beginning to recognize. The medical detection abilities of dogs have moved far beyond the realm of curiosity into life-saving intervention. But what emerges from the stories is a pattern that suggests something far more profound than enhanced sensory perception. Maria, a teacher from Boston, shares how her Cocker Spaniel Bella detected her breast cancer 8 months before medical tests revealed it. Bella kept pawing at my left breast, something she'd never done before. At first, I thought it was annoying behavior, but she persisted for weeks. Finally, I scheduled a mammogram just to rule out any problems. The radiologist found a tumor so small, it was barely visible. Bella saved my life by detecting something that shouldn't have been detectable. The pattern repeats across conditions. Dogs detecting Parkinson's disease years before symptoms appear, identifying blood sugar fluctuations in diabetics with precision that surpasses medical devices, sensing heart problems before cardiac episodes occur. But here's the mystery that science cannot yet explain. These dogs often develop their detection abilities specifically for their individual human companions. A dog who detects cancer in their owner may show no interest in or ability to detect the same condition in strangers. It's as if the bond itself creates the sensitivity. The transformation is rarely one-directional. As these evolved beings awaken to their healing gifts, they simultaneously call forth healing in their human companions. The relationship becomes a sacred exchange, a mutual elevation that lifts both participants to higher levels of consciousness. Rebecca, a therapist from Austin, tells of adopting Max, a dog with severe trauma from abuse. I thought I was rescuing him, but he was rescuing me. As I learned to patience heal his emotional wounds with and love, I began to heal my own. His journey through trauma became a mirror for my own recovery from childhood wounds I'd never fully addressed. This mutual healing creates what researchers are beginning to recognize as co-consciousness, a state where two beings exist in such harmony that their individual healing journeys become synchronized. As the human heals, the dog heals. As the dog awakens to its gifts, the human awakens to theirs. Ancient wisdom traditions speak of transitional periods in Earth's evolution, times when consciousness itself undergoes a fundamental shift. The Celtic seers called it the thinning of the veil. Hindu tradition speaks of the Kali Yuga giving way to a new age of awareness. The Hopi prophecies describe a time when all beings would remember their interconnection. Could it be that our canine companions are serving as bridges during this transition? Living embodiments of unconditional love, guides helping humanity remember what we've forgotten about connection, healing, and the sacred nature of all life. Their presence in our lives during this pivotal moment seems to offer more than companionship. They provide examples of beings who live fully in the present moment, who love without condition, who forgive without reservation, who heal without expectation of reward. No discussion of this sacred bond would be complete without acknowledging the profound grief that accompanies the loss of these enlightened companions. The depth of this pain speaks to the depth of the connection, a grief that often surprises people with its intensity. But within this grief lies hidden wisdom. Those who have lost their canine guides often report continued connection beyond physical death. Dreams that feel more real than waking life, sensations of presence during difficult moments, signs and synchronicities that suggest the bond transcends physical form. Elizabeth, who lost her German Shepherd Maya after 16 years together, describes her experience. For months after Maya passed, I felt her presence so strongly. During my darkest moments, I would feel warmth on my chest exactly where she used to rest her head. Friends thought I was imagining things, but I knew better. Love that strong doesn't simply end because a body stops functioning. This grief, while painful, often becomes a gateway to deeper spiritual understanding. It challenges our assumptions about consciousness, about love, about the nature of existence itself. Many report that processing this loss becomes their first real encounter with the reality of soul-level connection. For those blessed with these special companions, certain practices can deepen and honor the connection. Meditation together, sitting quietly with your dog, breathing in sync, creates a shared energetic field that strengthens the telepathic bond many experience. Trust their instincts. When your dog displays unusual behavior, pay attention. Their sensitivities often pick up information that your logical mind dismisses. Communicate through intention. Many discover they can communicate with their dogs through focused thought and clear intention. Speak to them mentally and observe their responses. Honor their healing gifts. If your dog shows signs of medical detection abilities, take them seriously. They may be offering you invaluable early warning systems. Create rituals of gratitude. Acknowledging the sacred nature of your relationship through simple rituals, morning gratitude, evening blessing, shared moments of appreciation, deepens the spiritual connection. Listen to their teaching. Dogs model presence, forgiveness, joy, and unconditional love. They are here as teachers, and we are their students in the art of living fully. While dogs may be leading this interspecies awakening, they are not alone. Cat owners report similar phenomena. Feline companions detecting illness, providing emotional healing, displaying telepathic abilities. Horse therapy has documented profound healing connections that challenge conventional understanding. Even smaller animals, birds, rabbits, reptiles, are displaying enhanced sensitivity to their human companions. This suggests we are witnessing not just an evolution in dogs, but a broader awakening across species lines. As human consciousness expands, we may be creating space for our animal companions to express capacities that have always existed, but remain dormant. The implications are staggering. If consciousness is not limited to humans, if intelligence and awareness exist across species in ways we're only beginning to recognize, then our entire relationship with the natural world requires fundamental reconsideration. Those who work closely with dogs in professional capacities, veterinarians, trainers, shelter workers, are reporting unprecedented changes in canine behavior over the past decade. Dogs displaying problem-solving abilities that surpass previous understanding. Canines showing sensitivity to environmental and emotional energies that seems almost supernatural. Shelter dogs who appear to interview potential adopters, choosing their humans with deliberate intention. Dr. Temple Grandin, whose pioneering work with animal consciousness has revolutionized our understanding, acknowledges that we are witnessing phenomena that our current scientific models cannot fully explain. There's clearly more happening in animal consciousness than we've given credit for, she has stated. We're dealing with forms of intelligence and awareness that may operate on different principles than human cognition. Perhaps the most profound teaching these evolved canines offer is the invitation to awaken to our own dormant capacities. In their presence, humans often discover intuitive abilities they never knew they possessed. Telepathic communication, energy healing, emotional sensitivity, spiritual awareness, gifts that emerge naturally in the atmosphere of unconditional love that dogs provide. They are not just companions, they are catalysts for human evolution. Through their example of living fully in love, they call us back to our own authentic nature. Through their demonstration of service without ego, they remind us of our highest potential. Through their mastery of presence, they teach us the art of being fully alive. Research institutions around the world are beginning to take seriously what dog owners have known intuitively for millennia. The Institute of HeartMath has documented measurable electromagnetic field synchronization between humans and their dogs. Universities are studying telepathic communication between species. Medical schools are incorporating animal-assisted therapy into their curricula based on documented healing outcomes. We stand at the threshold of a new understanding, one that bridges the gap between ancient wisdom and modern science, between spiritual truth and measurable phenomenon, between skepticism and wonder. The ancient prophecies spoke of a time when the barriers between species would dissolve, when communication would transcend words, when healing would flow freely between all conscious beings. That time, it seems, has arrived. Your dog did not find you by accident. In a universe where consciousness weaves through all life, where love transcends physical form, where healing flows through invisible channels, your canine companion chose you for reasons that your soul understands, even if your mind does not. They chose you because you needed their particular gifts. They chose you because your healing journey required their unique form of medicine. They chose you because in the grand design of consciousness evolution, your paths were meant to intertwine. As we conclude this exploration into the hidden truths of human-canine connection, I leave you with this invitation. Look deeply into the eyes of your four-legged companion. Beyond the physical form, beyond the familiar personality, beyond the daily routines of feeding and walking and playing, there exists a being of profound consciousness who has chosen to walk beside you on this journey of awakening. Honor that choice. Respect that consciousness. Open yourself to the teaching they offer simply through their presence in your life. For in recognizing the sacred nature of this bond, you take a step toward recognizing the sacred nature of all connection. In acknowledging their capacity for love and healing and wisdom, you acknowledge the same capacities within yourself. The age of separation is ending. The time of remembering our connection to all life has begun. And leading the way, with wagging tails and open hearts, are the four-legged masters who have been waiting patiently for us to recognize them as the teachers they have always been. Your dog chose you. The question that remains is, will you choose to see them as they truly are? In the ancient cipher of existence, every connection carries meaning. Every bond serves purpose. Every love expands the boundaries of what we thought possible. Until we meet again in these explorations of hidden truth, may you walk in awareness of the sacred that surrounds you, especially in the form of the loyal companion by your side. The mystery continues.